All right, good evening. You guys have probably seen this smiling face in our Achieve More community over the past year or so. And I wanted to make sure we brought Miss Brookelynn Cardenas out to talk to y'all about her wins and her learns in her journey. She's a senior director of relocation. Uh, and we just want to hear a little bit about her story. She's got some great things to share with us. Before we hopped onto the recording, she and I were having a good discussion. I was like, man, we just need to be having this on the Zoom right now so that we can share it with the community, some of the things that are going on and some of the things she's been able to accomplish at her young age. I only wish I knew what she knows right now when I was her age. It took me a few more years to learn it. So been excited to have her as part of our Achieve More community and just looking forward to her telling some of her story. So Brooke, take it away.
So I think in order to tell my story, I have to begin at the beginning, right? Because like many people in the real estate industry, real estate just kind of found me. I kind of ended up in relocation. You're probably thinking, what is relocation? What do you do? And so in layman's terms, what I do is move corporate transferees in and out of San Antonio, but I do so much more than that. I work with third-party vendors to provide leads to my agents. So I work for a very large real estate firm here in San Antonio and the surrounding areas. We also cover Laredo and Victoria, Texas. So I have a big market of a lot of agents that I basically provide opportunities outside of their normal sphere of influence. So you're probably thinking, how does this girl get into this industry? Well, I've been doing it for 13 years, which is a long time when you think about it. But I actually ended up at UTSA here in San Antonio, which is the University of Texas at San Antonio. And while I was going to college, I needed a job. And so through my mutual connections in high school, one of the co-op teachers actually knew somebody that was working for the company I work for. And so she said, Brooke, you'd be perfect. You'd be the best at this job. So I interviewed, I got the job, and I was very thankful because I needed it while I was going to school. While I was going to college, I kind of realized, man, I don't just like this for the now, I like this for the forever. So I went to university, I got my degree in sports events and tourism management, which living in San Antonio, all three are applicable here. So I always thought, okay, this is great. This is business degree. I can always do something with it. But my passion was in relocation. So they kind of saw that, man, she's picking up on stuff. Let's give her this test. Let's give her this test. Well, I kind of worked my way up in my 13 years, running the department. It's myself and another person. And we've been winning very prestigious awards, throughout the time. So I'm very thankful for the opportunities, but I'm very thankful that I was able to find my calling at a very young age. I know that that is something that a lot of people don't do. And I just found my niche and I stuck with it. But that all comes with faith. I have to bring that up right now. I do have a lot of faith. And so making decisions and, basically praying about, is this the right path for me? I kind of let that guide me, and it's kind of opened the doors for me. And now it's opening so many doors that this past year in 2022, I was actually awarded RealTrends Emerging Leaders in Real Estate. So there was about 40 candidates under 40 that
Congratulations.
got that award, and it's like a national award. So it was very honoring to notice that not only were my peers around me noticing what I was pursuing and achieving in the real estate world, like other people outside, were noticing those accomplishments. So I think it's really great. But not only do I focus on that, my company is very philanthropic. And so I actually lead the philanthropy committee for my company. So we partner with Any Baby Can and Communities in Schools, which if you don't know what Communities in Schools is they basically put an on-site person basically in the school to service the school in any way, the counselors, the teachers, whatever ways they may have. It's basically a resource officer. Instead of bringing in the police or officers, if somebody's having a disgruntled situation, they step in and basically speak to the children and see if there's any needs at home that might be affecting them succeeding in the school, in the classroom. And so basically we help, and I'm going to lead the National Day of Reading. If y'all don't know, that is coming up on March 2nd. So I'm very excited. We're basically sponsoring a school, and I'm going to get some people involved in my school, and my work involved in the school, and we're going to go read. So I'm very passionate about that too. And not only being a leader in your position, but also being the leader outside in the community, which I think is very important. That's where a lot of us sometimes fail as leaders, is not carrying over that. I do want to share some wins that, might be like, oh, is that really a win? But I was telling Beth, actually, in the last year, I've had a lot of turnover in my department. And at first I was like, oh my gosh, am I just a bad leader? Like, I'm not meant to do this. I'm not capable of this position. Like, I kind of got thrown it. I'm like, what's happening? Like, I like this job. Why don't you like this job? Kind of a situation. And every single person that left was like, hey, you're a great person. You're a great boss. It's not you. So I was like, man, but this really just stinks for me. But I look back, and we actually accomplished a really prestigious award within our department recently. And I look back on it, and had I not had that turnover and had to like fine tune my systems each time I got a new employee, I wouldn't be where I am today and as strong as I am today. And sometimes you have to look at those challenges as wins too, because it's in our failures, it's in our breaking that we become the definition of who we are meant to be today. And I have to give Beth and Achieve More a lot of credit for that, because last year at this time, I was a very broken girl. I was crying tears of like, I can't do this. I'm not strong enough for this. And now look at me, like I'm up here, like throw
Achieving
everything at me.
awards.
I got
Yeah.
it.
Right. I think you're, I know you're giving us credit, but it's looking within, right? So it's all about asking the questions and really thinking through that process. But what I heard from you, I think about the John Maxwell book, Failing Forward. And from the things that we consider failures, is it's not necessarily a failure, because sometimes you win, but sometimes you learn, right? So that's another one of the books, right? And within that, I think that's the lesson, is what are you taking from this to be able to grow and learn within that struggle that you were having. Yeah, it'd have been great to have that third person or whatever, but what's the lesson you're learning from that? What are they bringing to the table? What's happening? What's that transition? How are you going to adjust out to it? So I think those questions are so important. And you bring it up, like, I learned from it, and we were able to achieve more without that person being there, because we were stronger, we worked together better, we were more cohesive. Like, there's so many things that I heard you say, and I think that's the thing that people don't think about, is what when I have something that maybe I consider a failure or an opportunity, or maybe I didn't do something well, what did I learn from it? Stop and pause, reflect, and think, what could I have done differently, or what do I need to do differently going forward?
100%. And through all this, like, I have people that are like, are you a robot? And I'm like, I am not a robot. I am very messy sometimes. I'm very disorganized sometimes. I'm not a robot. You will never see that though, because I was telling Beth earlier, it's not about time management, it's about choice management. And so this year I chose to do something for myself. I chose to go back to school. You're probably like, she is crazy. This girl is crazy. No, I'm getting my master's from Mississippi State, Health State. That's one thing that I wanted to pursue for myself. So I'm very like motivated, to make that a priority, but also wake up at 4:50 every morning, at least 3 times a week. I try to do 5 times a week, but I'm really 3 times a week is like a must for me. And people are like, well, how do you work out? How do you go to school? How do you keep your job? How do you do all this? It's the choices I make. It's not that I'm good at time management or that I'm a robot. It's that I make conscious choices, even if it's just 15 minutes of getting this, 15 minutes of doing that, like making family a priority, making my husband a priority. You know, I have moved my grandparents here recently. And so every Sunday I make them a priority. And I know I'm going to allot this time to them, and they're going to have my undivided focus. If that means I have to give up a few things during the week to have that time and devote that time to them, then that's my choice. But that's how I get it all done, is because I have to make certain things priority right now while I'm going to school.
Yeah, and I think that's like I said, we were talking about this earlier. But I think in the big picture of things, right? When you find your passion, and you mentioned it earlier, like, I found at a younger age what I really enjoy doing, right? And you have a drive and a desire to be successful in that industry, but you haven't yet forgotten the things that are most important. So, in my career and throughout my journey, I didn't take that same path. I got very, very focused on my career, and I did let some of the things that were supposed to be, that I would say were my priorities, but it wasn't showing on my calendar. It was a priority. And I know we've done some training with some different teams over the years on, what does that look like, right? So it's time management. You can't really manage time, but you can schedule things to allow us to ensure that the things that are most important to us, because when you do those things, you're refilling your energy, right? You're getting the energy to be able to do what you want to do, or what your passion is to do. And those things, like, you got to get refilled. You got to put the things that are going to allow you to fill your bucket, because, I had a conversation with somebody earlier today. You can't give to other people what you don't have. If you're not taking care of yourself, you talked a little bit about exercising, you talked a little bit about taking time, you talked about spending time with your family, with, your grandparents, with your husband, taking time for you. You're doing something that you wanted to do. You're going back to school, and so those are the things that often we forget about. Is I got this job to do, right? Like, that's how people, oh, I got to go to work. I get to go to work. I have the privilege to be able to go somewhere where I enjoy working with the people that I work with and doing the things that I do. I have a passion to be able to help other people. I am so super pumped about doing this Achieve More community, Zoom with different individuals of different backgrounds. But I make that choice. I talked about it, right? I'm making the choice to do it right now. We're doing this recording. We figured out a time for you and me, and we made it work, right? And so you're right. It's all about the choices that we make of how they're going to impact our life and how we feel about them once we make them. Because if you sit on the couch and you eat a bunch of bonbons or whatever it is, and 2 and 3 hours a day, guess what's going to happen in 3 to 6 months? Like, you've wasted a ton of time, and then you probably gained a few pounds. But that's your choice.
100%. 100%. No, and I was gonna, add, you were saying that you have to fill yourself. One of the best ways I think about it, because a lot of people feel very guilty taking time for themselves, but I think about it like on an airplane. When she says you have to put on your mask before you can help anybody else, that is true in life. If you are so burnt out, you are so stressed out, you are so tired, you will not have the time nor the energy to fill anybody else.
I
And so
literally
when
said that to your grandmother today. I said that exact statement to your grandmother.
oh, she needs to take our advice, because we think on the same wavelength here. I'm not your physical child, but I may be, have some of those
I'm sending those
genes of
vibes
you.
to you.
Yes, yes,
Oh, that's
but
hilarious.
no, it's so true. And taking time for yourself and scheduling that time in. I mean, it can be as simple as, hey, I need time out. I need to take a 10-minute, 5-minute walk. I just need to reset. And sometimes I walk away from my desk and I tell my coworker, like, hey, I can't focus on this problem anymore. I got to take 5-10 minutes. Taking those little time for yourself throughout the day is so important for you to be able to come back and focus even deeper and with more intent. Like if you just stay there, your mind is going to just keep wandering off and you're not going to be able to crush the task that you have at hand. But if you take those little moments for yourself and have intentions, and that's why I love yoga. So you know that I am avid at working out. I have workout clothes on, guys, right now. That's just me outside of work. It is limited makeup, my hair tied up, and workout clothes. That's just what I like. I like to be outside. When anytime there's light, sunshine, I want to be outside walking. I'm like my husband when we first got married. He would like call me in for dinner like a little kid, like it's it's 8 o'clock. You need to come in now. But that's just me. I enjoy the sun. I enjoy that's what fills me. You have to. The other day I was talking. I was doing a training for my agents and I told them that I love Disney, right? I love Disney. I love working out. I love all that. And they said, well, why do you love Disney? And I said, because it refills my cup. When I go to Disney or I have a trip plan, I'm thinking about that. When I go there, all the problems, all the work, all the workload, all the people that need Brooke, they melt away. And I said to them, I said, you got to find your Disney. Everybody has to find their Disney. It looks different in every person, but if you don't find that thing that you love, that you're passionate about outside of what you do, you won't be able to refill yourself. So going to 5 a.m. yoga is another way that I fill my cup because there's no cell phones allowed in the studio. So I know for 1 hour, it doesn't matter. The world could be blowing up for 1 hour. Nobody needs me. And you have to unplug and unwind or you can't fill yourself.
Yeah, I think everything you're saying is just spot on. Like I said, you come with a wealth of knowledge. And it's so awesome to see your journey you've been on. I know people are like, did she say she's been working for 13 years at this place? Yeah, she started very young at this organization. And she's still young. So, but definitely has accomplished some amazing things. So if you want to look up Brooke, you can definitely find her on LinkedIn. I will put a link down in or attach it to the recording so that way you can contact her on LinkedIn. I'm sure she'd love to connect with you if you have any questions. Brooke, is there anything else you'd like to add this evening?
No, I would love to connect. I am a licensed real estate agent in the state of Texas. So if you have any real estate needs, I don't just service Texas, I can service outside of Texas. So feel free to message me. I'll help get you connected to the right people in the industry.
Awesome. Brooke, thank you so much for being here this evening. We appreciate you and look forward to hearing more about your success story as you continue your journey. And good luck, Mississippi State. I wish I had thought about it. I literally have a cowbell that the puppies ring when they go outside. I should have got it over here and rang it because I know all the MSU. Oh, there she goes. She's going to get the cowbell right now. Yep.
Have one.
Yeah, I knew the cowbell was going to come out. So for all those dog fans out there, there you go. Contact Brooke if you got any needs. Otherwise, we definitely appreciate you joining us. Hope you have a great evening.